Rules of Engagement. Entering the New Paradigm by Inelia Benz for Ascension101.com.
The first thing I'd like us to look at is the nature of reality. In this first part, I would like to go to the most basic information on and also the definition of what reality is. Reality basically is an agreed upon shared experience. An experience that is shared with other or others. The more singularities, that is, a singular constructed being, agree on a particular aspect of reality, the more solid it becomes. Individuals on this planet come in two distinct flavors. Those who know that all that reality is a shared experience, and can move in and out of that solidity of that experience, and those who move within it completely unconsciously and are stuck in its solidity without any way to manipulate it or shift in or out of it, or even consciously decide what they want that reality to be. The second group we call sleepers, and some people call sheeple, because it is others who decide what that group's reality is at all times, and leave them there, often through fear, while they passively follow. There are various aspects of reality which transcend the type of paradigm we choose on the planet. In other words, it doesn't matter what type of experience we're having. These are part of reality when we experience life as a singular construct or a soul construct. These are universal laws of physical existence. The laws we're going to be discussing are agreement, free will, and power. And some of the topics we're going to be touching on, because they're specifically relevant to the lower paradigm we're living, are suffering, light-dark dual experience, the victim-aggressor cycle, karma, debt, and fear. And we're also going to look at how it all ties in with timelines. So let's start with agreement. Agreement is what we choose to have in our life experience, either in our own life or as a spectator, watching others live that experience. Either way, we have a reaction, a physical, emotional, mental, egoistic, or energetic reaction to what we see or what we live. Our agreement is personal at a singular being level, and also collective at various levels. We each belong to different collectives. One is our immediate reality shared by others who live or are close to us at a physical level. Another could be an ideological agreement, another could be a national agreement, and another could be a species collective agreement. Even at a species level, we could form part of various collectives. The ones who added genetic material to evolution, for example, are part of our collective. Or the collective where we spent most of our evolutionary path. This could be Earth, or it could be another planet or dimension. So it's many concentric circles, that's circles inside circles of agreement, that form our reality. What we experience from a personal point of view, as well as a social point of view, is what we agree with others is real. Now, before we talk about the next bit of information, remember there is absolutely no judgment on light or dark beings. This is just a situation that's happening. It is a game that's being played. There are no real victims in the game of life. So, when we first look at this rule of existence, that's of agreement, from the viewpoint of the light-dark dual reality we have been living in for thousands of years, we might say, well, I don't agree with the war in XYZ, so why is it still happening there? And that is an excellent question. You see, we just moved away from a reality where those who knew how the game worked really hard to make a very specific type of game, one based on fear. Everyone being born inside that particular game was sucked into the fear. So some will experience war either in their own homes or hear about it on the telly. The blind following of the masses with regard war, murder, fear, pain for living on this planet, or whatever other belief they held to be necessary, created the consensus of the human collective. We agreed on those realities, and we manifested them, and we manifested light beings and dark beings, wars and everything else. But there is something else that has been happening since the 1950s, and it is not reported because those who we call the powers that were think that it's going to annihilate them. So they're really afraid of this information coming out. And you know they're right, it will. What the powers that were are afraid of is the awakening and the disagreement of the masses to being led where they don't want to go. And this is happening right now. Because there has never been in the presently accessible history of humankind so many awakening teachers or individuals deeply wanting to advance in their own personal evolution. Never. There has never been such free access to information to anyone who wants it in the history of humankind. There has never been so much disagreement with having to pay to live on the planet, with having to accept war, famine, pestilence, or natural disasters. There has never been so many individuals or groups actively focusing their attention and intention on natural events, human-created disasters, and other potentially catastrophic happenings, and stopping them, just by focusing and sending their intention of balance and light towards those situations. Of course, supported by those who take action in the physical world. And the reason behind this phenomenon is twofold. On the one hand, we have been moving into a high vibrational sector of the galaxy. This will naturally raise the planetary and collective vibration. The nature of the veil of forgetfulness is simply thick, low vibration. And as we raise the planetary and collective vibration, the veil lifts. And secondly, the collective, of course, does not necessarily have to experience a higher vibration just because the planet is going through one. This is just an opportunity. The human collective is so powerful that it can create a completely different reality, no matter what the environment is doing. In fact, it can alter the environment to reflect what it wants to experience. The powers that were are trying harder than ever to stop the raising of the collective vibration. They do so by creating disasters and using the fear machine to the max, but this is not working for them. Individuals are saying no and opening their hearts instead. The tremendous movement to create a society that only cares about personal survival above all else has collapsed. More and more individuals will put themselves in the firing line to give a chance to those who cannot help themselves yet, in order to give them enough time to wake up, enough time to see that they are not helpless after all, that they are in fact powerful, eternal beings who can take charge of their own experience on the planet. The reason why the low vibration creators are not being successful is because several hundred years ago there was a call by the planet and the human collective to move into a new shared experience. A higher vibrational and empowered experience while it went through this particular sector of the galaxy. The call mentioned that the free will of the collective was being violated via artificial means. When that call went out, individuals from other times, other planets, and other dimensions who have a higher base vibration than that found in present-day humans started incarnating here. It went from a handful of beings incarnating here, say in the 1930s, to millions in the last few decades. The collective vibration was thus raised enough from the inside out so that the present-day humans' veil of forgetfulness could start dissipating. They could start to see beyond the oppressive shared reality they had been passively participating in. As this happened, those who have incarnated here and agreed to fall asleep to do this work, when they entered the body, started to raise their personal vibration, and thus the entire collective's vibration climbs, making even the most sleepy of individuals wake up enough to make a decision, a conscious decision of where they want to go and what reality they want to experience. Whether awake, asleep, or indifferent, the vote is cast by each person at each moment, either by agreeing with what is happening, in other words, believing it to be solid and unchangeable because they want to experience it, by disagreeing with what's happening, by believing it to be changeable and acceptable, or not wanting it to be in one's experience of reality, or by not taking a vote, which is the same as agreeing. One might think, well, if we're influencing others by casting our agreement or disagreement vote, are we not dictating what happens to them? And the answer is no. You see, they are as powerful as you are, whether they are asleep or awake. They still take their own votes. And guess what? They will move into a reality where your agreement doesn't win, but theirs does. And you move into a reality where your agreement rules. This is what's called multiple timelines. Compatible vibrations congregate in compatible realities. There are no right or wrong realities. There are just different ones. Eventually this will mean that we move into a new form of experience, one based on a type of cosmic dance where we are the conscious choreographers. At the moment, the beginning of 2012, there are those who are fighting tooth and nail to stop us from casting our vote, and stop us from teaching the masses that each person, each man, each woman, and each child is an extremely powerful individual. An individual that, when he or she finally accepts this fact, processes all his or her fear around it, and around others being just as powerful, will be able to move through time and space in all directions, and no longer create an unconscious or fear-based reality, which is based on someone else's vision of what their life should be like. I agree with an empowered collective, where each and every individual has the power to consciously create his or her reality. It's a big ability which comes with a huge response ability, or ability to respond. So let's do a little agreement exercise here. Choose a person, a situation, location, a personal topic, or a worldwide event that you do not agree with. Then draw a red circle around it and a line across it, while saying the words, "I do not agree with this." Next, visualize what you would like to see, what you do agree with, and place a green tick, that's like a check mark, next to it. It is very, very simple and quick. So much so that one might think it's not life-changing at all, but it is. Try it. Try it with the big things and with the little things. Use it every day and watch.